we are being realigned inner frequencies in this country. Whatever happens in America dissipates throughout the world, and God is tearing down old structures. There's a shift in the season here. We're shifting kings. We're shifting our president. Things can get chaotic when seasons shift, but that doesn't mean that it's meant to stay like that. I really feel like there's a divine reordering happening. I muscle tested that the collective needs to work on this right shoulder, and this has to do with anger about not being heard. I did a tuning that I launched on YouTube a little while ago about this right shoulder too, and so I was like, God, you want me to do this shoulder again? And in one of my books, this Whole Tones book, I opened it up, and this guy, Michael Terrell, he so beautifully ties in the Bible with frequency. Of course, he had Isaiah 22:2. And he talks about this key of David. He says, I will place on his shoulder the key of David. I will place on his shoulder. I really feel like we are being realigned inner frequencies in this country. Whatever happens in America dissipates throughout the world. And God is tearing down old structures. If you look at Daniel 2, right before the 2:22, where he reveals the darkness with his light, in the beginning of this part it says, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings and raises up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He reveals deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and light dwells with him. Whew. So he removes kings and raises up kings. There's a shift in the season here. We're shifting kings. We're shifting our president. Things can get chaotic when seasons shift, but that doesn't mean that it's meant to stay like that. I really feel like there's a divine reordering happening. Whew. He changes seasons, he changes times. So things are not always stagnant. I'm really fascinated with this crown chakra. The crown chakra has a lot to do with overwhelm. And I'm so fascinated with this idea of the crown chakra and how it has so much to do with this feeling of flow. And as I've been reanalyzing my abundance frequency program, because I'm going to start a new group with that, so I redid my website for it, and I fixed my workbook, and I've just really been meditating on like, what is abundance? And part of abundance is knowing when to flow, or knowing how to flow. So as God shifts seasons, things are going to change. We're not always going. Sometimes there's rest. We're not always working. Sometimes we sleep. Just seasons of life can change. Sometimes you're a busy working woman like I was, and then you have a baby and you're like, wait a second, who am I? And then you have to try to figure out who you are in that new season. So seasons change, things change. And then the idea of the crown is you're always in divine alignment with who you are at the right time and in the right place. And that's where there's peace. That's where there's not this feeling of overwhelm. So sometimes you have to kind of get that adjustment in your electrical system here, because as things change, you might keep trying to do things the way that you used to do it, and it's not in alignment with this new season. So that might be something for you right now, and maybe in your job, maybe you need a new job. Maybe it's something in how you are positioned in this country, or how you are seeing things moving forward. AI, for example, once AI came in, I was like, oh, I'm learning that. I'm jumping in that river and figuring out how to flow, because I do not want to get left behind. One way that we can release some of the overwhelm that a lot of us are feeling is to really be able to tune in to what is God telling you for this season in your life. Finding that stillness. All right, well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more stuff that comes out as we do this tuning. Thank you guys again for all joining me. I'm going to get started. So I'm going to continue using this 222 hertz, as I mentioned with some of the verses, and I'm going to use these Fibonacci pair. God has this perfect order in nature called the Fibonacci sequence, and you see it in seashells and sunflowers and numbers. You even see it in the stock market, but this pair together makes that perfect order. There's definitely something about perfect order that I really want to press into and help the collective vibrate on that more of that perfect order, because it feels like chaos. Whew. So, and then the other one I felt led to do, I don't know if you guys know who Tai Lopez is, but he posted a reel about 852 hertz, and I was like, oh, I have that tuning fork. And that has to do with the third eye chakra. The third eye chakra has a lot to do with being in tuned. We have these magnetosensors around our pineal gland, and we literally are like the way birds and other animals are wired, in that sense where we just have this connection to all these energy fields around us, and that can really help guide us in our path in life. Our pineal gland has a lot to do with sleep and rest, and that is so important if you really want to hear God, if you want to move in peace and not be so overwhelmed. Get your rest. Like, figure that out first, and everything else will stack upon it a lot easier. We're pretty programmed and wired in our society to be on the go, nonstop, all the time. And this is not healthy for our nervous system. So if you feel that nudging of the Holy Spirit to pause, I encourage you to relax, lay down, get comfy. Take a deep breath in, see that belly rise. As you relax deeper and deeper right now, you're going to find that you actually have more energy. You feel more alive. You feel refreshed. Take a deep breath in. God speaks so much louder when we relax our brain waves. He said, "Be still and know that I am God." So since we're giving attention to this shoulder, this anger about not being heard, let's tie it into this idea of being still. Maybe God is trying to speak, but you're not being still to actually hear him. Imagine it like a relationship where one person is trying to talk to you, and you're just going, and maybe they start screaming. I think my son does this a little bit. Or then he starts screaming. It's like, "Hello, I'm right here. I'm trying to talk to you, but you're busy." So we're just gonna break off any busyness right now that's unnecessary. Some of it is necessary, but some of it really isn't. So I pray right now that God shows you what's necessary and what's not. I find that if we're not listening to the voice of God when he's trying to knock on the door, it can become like he's screaming, he's banging almost. And that could look like Maybe a fire. Ooh. Physically, mentally, energetically, whatever that fire could look like. It's like, okay, something is coming up in destruction. Something's really trying to get our attention now. So I want to just congratulate you right now for taking this time for you to hear the voice of God, to get tuned to His perfect harmony. He hears you. He knows what you need. He knows what the collective needs right now. And out of the chaos, I see love emerging. I see peace emerging. I see God's divine order emerging. So what does that look like for you? What does God's perfect order and peace and love look like? How is it emerging right now? Any area in your life that you feel like is dark, chaotic, out of order, I want you to see these beautiful harmonized frequencies, mending those pieces in your body, in your mind, in your relationships, in your finances. See God's light casting out the darkness, just like Daniel 2:22. His light reveals the darkness, but it also casts out the darkness. He hears you. He knows your deepest desires and needs and wants. He knows the breakthrough that you need. He knows the touch from heaven that you need. See it happening right now. See divine order in that area that needs a touch from heaven. See a dove resting on your shoulder with the olive leaf. And I see the rainbow. It's like Noah's Ark. We've been in the storm and we see the light of day. The rainbow is like all of God's perfect, beautiful frequencies showing itself. See that rainbow, those beautiful frequencies resonating in every cell of your being. The light dwells within you, His light, His peace, His joy, His harmony. And as you're getting tuned up, I want you to see as you go out and you experience life, you're like a tuning fork and all of these frequencies are just rippling. It's rippling like throwing a stone into a pond. As a result of each one of us getting tuned up, we're literally like that light, spreading light, that spreads light, that spreads light. And that light is calming the storm. Just putting these frequencies into your shoulder that we just harmonized. Resentment, all resentment in the shoulder, over accommodating, saying yes when we really mean no. Let's break that off of that shoulder as we connect that shoulder to the back of the biofield. This is a season where you're learning when to say yes, when to say no. You're not feeling guilty about taking time you need for yourself anymore. The healthier you are, the healthier we could be for our family, the more we could show up for society, the more we can love others because we feel loved. All right, so we're going to take this 852 hertz, and before we get into the crown chakra, I want to actually put it right on top of this area right here. This is a resentment area. I'll just move my hair. Releasing new layers of resentment for anywhere you've overextended yourself. So when we overextend ourselves, when we don't say no, when we really feel like we should be saying no, it forms into resentment. If you want, you can put your hand right there to just bring some extra energy and love. I want you to see the hand of God touching this area. This is the right, it's like right on top of your right lung. I want you to see how you could breathe better as you put some love in that area. Put some awareness. As I mentioned, this 852 hertz has a lot to do with the pineal gland and the third eye chakra. So I want you to bring that energy of awareness here in this lung. Some of you may have been having some lung issues because of the fog. Just see those lung issues disappearing right now as this over-accommodating feeling comes out of the lung along with the resentment. Love yourself, to put healthy boundaries around your life. I feel an uneasiness around this. Like I feel all over my body. It's like readjusting. It's okay. It's okay to feel uneasy around the thought of putting yourself first. Put your oxygen mask on first. And then you could be of great service to others. I'm going to put this right on top of the third eye. Allow your brainwaves to relax. Sink more into that parasympathetic healing frequency. See yourself being able to fully rest at night, like Jesus in the boat. When the storm was around him, he rested. Any excess energy coming out from the sides of your head, see it coming right back into this third eye chakra. So you can fully find a place of rest right now. Sometimes our conscious mind is like, yeah, I need rest, but our body physically is not catching up to it. So we're gonna bring that energy from the third eye chakra to the front of the biofield. I feel a shaking in my right leg. Let's calm that. It's like an anxious dog. my dog, she gets so excited and anxious to go on a walk. That's what it feels like. Oh, it's calming down. Okay. Calming the anxiety. It's time to work from a place of peace, not from anxiety. We get more done working from a place of peace versus a place of anxiety. Okay. Before we move to the crown, one more third eye chakra. We're going to do the back of the third eye. We're going to connect it to the back of the biofield. I'm going to use my other hand here. Take a deep breath in. I want you to see anything in the back of your mind that needs releasing. Just old memories, old things that need closure. See it being closed so you can move into the new chapter in your life. Abundance is your natural birthright. Just look at nature. Everything's vibrating in abundance. More than enough. Let's get tuned to that more than enough. We're releasing feelings from the back of your head of not feeling like you are enough, like you're not doing enough. Let's also visualize too that any chapters that need to be closed in this country, spiritually, energetically, physically, it is finished. It is nailed to the cross. All right, we're going to use the Fibonacci force now, and we're going to tune the crown chakra. By now, you should feel a little bit less overwhelmed. This will help to get some more of that energetic overwhelm off of you. You might even feel it kind of rising to the surface. Just see it releasing as it's rising. Breathe into it. Pay attention to how your body is reacting. Biofield Tuning is all about being embodied, paying attention to how you're feeling. A lot of times we get sick because we're really out of tune with our body. Our body is always speaking to us, or you could think about it like God speaking through us or to us through our body. So where do you have pain? Where do you have a nagging feeling? Where do you notice something? Maybe there's a spot. Maybe there's a bump. Maybe there's a wrinkle. Wherever there feels like there's something a little bit out of order, I would ask yourself, what is the emotion that is involved in that? Before it blows up into something like a tumor or a disease. If we pay attention to how our body's speaking to us, we'll catch things before it's a really big problem. So wherever there's an area of darkness, let's see the light of God, these beautiful frequencies touching those areas, bringing order and peace. Divine alignment. I feel like that's a word of the year for our country. Divine alignment. We're coming to a place of divine alignment. There's a breakthrough like never before that is happening right now. And those who have eyes to see and ears to hear can see it emerging. Let's come back to resting in that vision. Divine authority. He takes out kings and he puts in the right kings. Above all, Jesus is King. Jesus is Lord. So let's rest on that Jesus is the King in the house. Take a deep breath in. And breathe out. All right, we're going to use the other Fibonacci fork. This is the 144 hertz. When you use these forks together, it makes the binaural beat of the Fibonacci sequence. I'll use them together when we connect the chakra, the crown chakra, to the infinite field. So we're on the other side of the crown. So the crown has this perfect connection with time and nature. When we're out of sync with nature, we're out of sync with time. When we're out of sync with time, when we're out of sync with nature. Take a deep breath in. And breathe out. So let's envision 2025, this year, you're learning how to become more in sync with time and nature. Whatever that means for you and your family, in your ministry, in your job, in your business. If you don't feel healthy, I would really advise to pray about this feeling of where you might be out of sync with time and out of sync with nature. Are you doing too much? Are you not doing enough? Take a deep breath in. Sometimes we're doing too much and we need to learn how to trust God more with doing less. I'm in that season right now. What does that mean? What does it mean to work from more of a place of peace, hearing God's message and then moving, versus just constantly doing and thinking that's going to be the answer to more prosperity, more health? What if the answer is not doing so much? It's different for everyone, so pray about this. What is the season you're in? that's going to bring you divine peace, fulfillment, freedom. Let's visualize that white light above you coming down your head, resonating with all your cells. Peace. So before I started this tuning, I muscle tested what essential oil could be good for the collective that's watching this right now. And I use vibrant blue essential oils. And the essential oil that came up was purification. It's all about cleansing. If you put it in the air, it can help cleanse mold and funguses. So I'm gonna use that oil with this tuning fork right now. This is the frequency of that oil, purification. I'm gonna put it in this crown chakra here. Let's purify that crown right now. Maybe some of you might even have mold or fungal issues because you're out of alignment. It's not a physical problem anymore. A lot of times we think of mold like, oh, I gotta keep moving around. What if you need to not be moving around? Ooh. If you be still, hear from God. I invite you, if you feel led to make any kind of sounds with your voice or sing. It's really good for your nervous system. Breathing, breathe. Breathing will help purify your cells, purify your nervous system. So as I'm putting these frequencies in here, let's purify your thoughts. I'm reminded of Philippians 4:4. Focus on what is worthy of your attention, the things of God. If it doesn't bring divine order and peace, maybe it's time to have a conversation with yourself about that thing, that person, that thought, that action. What is bringing more freedom in your life this year? And let's just see God's cleansing, purifying energy, cleansing that area in your life. So you could have rest and peace. All right, we're going to bring these biophotons, so these light particles that our body emits, right back into the crown. Just see the light of God. In Him, there is light. Ooh, and the light casts out the darkness. So just imagine from the crown on top of your head, there's white being flooded through, and it's just dipping into every single nook and cranny of your being and your life and your relationships and your finances. An abundance of peace, an abundance of time freedom. Let's connect you to the infinite field. See, we're living in a sea of frequency, charged particles all around us. As we connect your crown to the infinite field, you're being connected to all the resources, people, finances, opportunities, love, all the things that you need for a feeling of abundance in your life. You are not alone. So let's go ahead and put these Fibonacci frequencies on the heart. Let's get connected to the heart, remembering that you're not alone. You are loved. You are abundant. You have all your needs met. And just keep looking up. If you want to stay connected to the frequencies of heaven, don't look at the chaos around you. Look up. What is God doing? Okay, so we're going to get centered in our core. We're going to tie this session up, your Biofield up in 3 figure eights. That's 222 times 4. 8. New beginnings. New beginnings over your life in the 2025. New beginnings over deeper healing in any area that you need healing in your life. Mentally, physically, energetically, financially, whatever area doesn't feel abundant. I pray God mends that hole and helps you to see you are more than abundant in that area. And supernatural breakthrough and new beginnings over this country and this nation and the world. Thank you, Jesus, that you are doing a new thing in this new season. And it is wonderful. It is our prayers answered. We're connecting our core, our solar plexus. We're getting anchored in that, connecting us to God's perfect will. It is finished. We're going to tie your Biofield up in the rainbow-like cocoon. So from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, I want you to imagine rainbows going left and right and left to right. And just like I had mentioned, the dove with the olive leaf on the shoulder in the rainbow, I want you to see we're all in this boat together. And God's light has come. Breakthrough is here in Jesus' name.